Hi everyone, I'm Jason Khalipa and welcome back to the AMRAP Mentality Podcast, a show we interview interesting people about how to make the most out of every single minute. On today's episode is monster truck driver Cynthia Gauthier. We had a phenomenal conversation. I didn't know much about what the competition is like in racing and what does it feel like to drive a monster truck. Who does? But for Cynthia, she dives into her mindset. What does it take for her to win? How did she get on the circuit? And what is it actually like driving one of these 1,500 horsepower vehicles? It was an amazing conversation. I can't wait to dive into it. Before we do, just want to remind you that Butcher Boxes came on as a sponsor of the podcast and a partner of ours. And I love their products. They have really good quality meats. We barbecue it on a regular basis. And if you want to check it out, I would highly recommend to do so. Go to butcherbox.com/AMRAP. They have a special offer for anyone who listens to this podcast. Now, guys, let's learn about what it feels like to do a backflip in a monster truck and dive into the episode. All right, so Cynthia, you and I, we've been talking for the last couple of days, and I am so fascinated with you being a professional monster truck driver. I think a lot of people, when they were kids, they went to monster truck events. And then as they get older, they kind of almost forget it exists, but then they always know it's there. But it's like this infamous thing that monster trucks are so badass, but yet who are the drivers? What is the sport like? And it just looks so incredible when I watch it. So my son and I went the other day, and I couldn't believe what it would be like to have 1,500 horsepower underneath you, smashing through an arena. So I got to start off with saying, what started you off in monster truck racing? Because I'm just blown away by it. So what got you into it?
I would say I got that from my dad. I mean, he used to bring me to all kind of racing when I was a kid, asphalt, dirt, anything that had action. My dad would bring me, and I would be the little girl on the side of the track, just wishing that one day I would become a racer. But it did not happen when I was young. I started racing when I was 18, so it's kind of a late start for me. I waited that I had enough money on the side so I could buy my first dirt bike, a pickup truck, and that's how I started racing. The passion just got so big. It was kind of like addicting. That adrenaline rush of racing was getting more demanding and more demanding. I need it. But I got injured really bad with motocross. So I kind of had to do a change. It was kind of hard for me because it was all I wanted was ride my dirt bike. So I actually started racing off-road. It was another adrenaline, like they say, with the age comes the cage. So I actually...
With the age comes the cage. I never heard that before.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more safe. You have a cage around you. I already had like couple surgeries, so I want to be more protected. But I was able to get that adrenaline rush. And in the meantime, I kind of met some people in the monster jam industry with the monster truck, and I never thought about that. It's like a sport that I did not know much about it. Yeah. And I just fell in love. I went to a couple show and I was like, you know what? I want to become a driver. I want to be in that truck. So it took 2 years actually. I had to work my way there. I had to, tell them, hey, do you guys need a French Canadian driver? I'm the only one that speak French. It could be good because we do a lot of international show. And they're like, well, you know what? We'll test you and see how you do. And the first time I jumped was like the best adrenaline I ever had. And I was like, I want to do this. And it happened the year after I got a seat. And it's been 5 years now.
Wow. So you're racing dirt bikes, and then you got injured. And then with the age comes the cage. I love that. And so then you start having this roll cage, you start having four wheels. Now, when you start getting into monster trucks, and so Monster Jam, what is Monster Jam exactly? Is it a series of kind of races and then you get prizes? I mean, how does Monster Jam work?
So Monster Jam is the biggest series we have with Monster Truck. It's international, so it goes all around the world. I mean, we go to Australia, Brazil, Philippines. We'll go really anywhere. And the goal of it's to go to the World Final. It's a big competition. It's all the best driver out there get to go there. But you have to earn it. You have to win your series. We have 7 series going on right now. Winner is our big season. So you got to be the winner to get to go to the World Final. So that's the big goal for us. It's just building your name and have that, that honor to go to that big show.
So you're working towards the big show, and take me through, you've been around engines and kind of extreme motocross, et cetera, for years. What was it like for the first time? And what is it like driving a monster truck? Because you and I were talking about this and I had no idea, but there's a steering wheel, right? And most of us have a hard enough time learning the gas and brake in a steering wheel. And not to mention now you have multiple gears, right? So it's kind of stick shift because there's only two gears.
Two gears, yeah.
So you got gears, you got a steering wheel, and then what blew my mind was I didn't realize there's a joystick to manage the back wheels because, when I've watched you guys do this, you're in this arena and it's very, very small and you guys are basically turning on a dime. And so take me through, what is it like driving a monster truck? I mean, you're like stuck in this like pit.
Yeah. What's funny is you really have to know your surrounding. I mean, the truck is big. The tire is 66-inch tire. They're so big. You have to know it's kind of like when
it's like taller than you. The tires alone are taller than you. It is. Yeah.
So you have to know your surrounding. So it is the first part is kind of know your limits, in the Monster Jam truck. But the adrenaline is just, you cannot compare to anything. I mean, before any show, it's been 5 years, I still have that adrenaline. I mean, my heartbeat goes so fast and I'm nervous, excited, like all those emotions are in me. And it's like, I don't know, it's just the best feeling. You just can hear that engine go so quick and like, it's so like the reaction is amazing, the reaction. And you can hear the crowd too. I mean, when you're in the sold out stadium and you have 65,000 people screaming at you and cheering for you, I mean, that adrenaline is like, you cannot replace that with anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you just want to go big. And so, talking about mindset a little bit is here you are, you're trying to some people would look at it, and I actually think myself included, think about it more as a show and less as an actual like, hey, I'm trying to win to get to this big show, right? You're more putting on a spectacle for the arena. But you're saying, hey, we got to try and win these events. Yes. And so there's different events that build up each show. Yes. So what are those events? It's like a race and then a freestyle.
So in stadium, you have racing. You go two by two, and it's the fastest goes to the final. After that, we have two-wheel skill. It's new from the last 2 years. It's kind of like you can do any tricks you want, but you have to stay on two-wheel the longest, the most impressive. So you got to win the crowd because the crowd's actually the one voting with their phone. So the tricks are just amazing. Every weekend, I feel somebody come up with a new idea how to go on two-wheel. It could be on two-wheel on the side, like a bicycle, we call it, or even going on two-wheel in the front and do a moonwalk. That's when you kind of go to reverse, forward, just on two-wheel. I mean, the balance that the driver can get in a Monster Jam truck is just amazing. And after we have freestyle, the most popular, it's like you just have to destroy, do everything you can to impress the crowd. I mean, you got to get out of control, but in control. So that's the hardest thing. You have to keep that, keep calm in your truck because you get too nervous sometime and you'll crash and be on your lid in 5 seconds. So you gotta be like willing to go really big, but you have to fill your time. So it's really technical.
Wow. I mean, I love talking to you about this. This is so fascinating to me because it's an arena of extremes. You go too hard, you're going to flip. Yeah. You go too light and the crowd's not going to like you, right?
Exactly.
And you're not going to progress. So I want to touch base on, in particular, when you're going through these freestyle areas and you're saying, hey, I need to learn how to stay calm. So preparing you to stay calm, what kind of things are you thinking about in your head before you get the light to go, right? Because before it's your turn, what kind of things are you thinking about mentally? Maybe for those people listening who are going into a big, maybe like a big pitch for their meeting, or it's a different situation, or maybe in the CrossFit world, you're getting ready for a competition. What is that like to you? I mean, what are you thinking about?
Well, I'd say my mindset's been changing a lot. The first 4 years, my thinking was always like, I have to do less damage, try to keep my truck in one piece. And I wanted to win. I'm super, super competitive, but I was really thinking about not breaking the truck, putting on a good show for the crowd. But this year I came up, I mean, it's my first stadium championship tour, and I was like, I need to change that. I want to win, and I have to believe that I can win. So now before each show, I'm in my truck and I'm visualing that I'm winning. I'm visualing me getting out of my truck and cheering on top and hearing the whole crowd. And like, the crowd feed me. Without the crowd, like, I'm nobody. Like, I need that crowd energy. And it's kind of amazing because in my truck, when I do a cool tricks and I hear that crowd pump me up, I'm like, okay, I'm going for another cool trick. Like, it's just amazing, that feeling. And for me, I try to keep calm. And this year, believe that I can, and making myself believe that I can win. I can keep that stress down. And because stress is really, really bad for myself. Like, I feel like, that stress of always do good, and that stress, like, it just eat me out. So I need to find a way to control it. And this year, doing yoga and working out, when I do a lot of workout, I'll work on keep it calm, breathing, and it's been helping me in my Monster Jam truck. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to talk on that note. So, you know, you obviously do CrossFit and you use it as a fitness regimen, which I think for your profession, I mean, I watched some videos and you're like, I mean, I just think about it. You're going up in this truck and it's just like, whop, bam, and you're just boom. I mean, and so you got to have this muscle to kind of support your system, but also, you know, all that fatigue. So when you kind of hit, I mean, I'm watching you driving, you're hitting the wheel, you're doing all this crazy stuff. So how has fitness, or CrossFit in particular, kind of helped you mentally and physically for each race or each event?
Well, you know, when you do a workout, you know, in CrossFit, it's so intense. I mean, we go to that intensity that you don't think your body can go through. Well, same thing in a Monster Jam truck. I mean, my heartbeat goes so fast, and I'm like, sometimes it's like stuff happens so quick, your reaction have to be quick. Like, reaction is the key. If you don't react, like a quarter of a second can make the whole difference. You gotta be there and you gotta react quick in any situation, but you gotta keep calm. So that's where, for me in a workout, if I attack a workout and I'm going all in, but like, it won't work for me. I have to like find a way to have that intensity, but in control. And that's what I'm kind of doing in my Monster Jam truck. I try to stay calm, but I got to react quick.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. One of my coaches told me a long time ago, hey, Jason, I want you to move fast, but breathe slow. And what that meant to me was like, you know, move fast, move with purpose, but kind of stay calm, stay collected, and especially for what you do. And so, I mean, take me through so the race starts and you're going around these corners and you're like fully locked in. So what is it like when you go through a driving process, just for someone who's not familiar, like I am? I looked at one of your cars and you can actually see underneath. So like, what is it like when you're actually driving? So like the shifting, the steering wheel, like, do you look through? Do you look up? I mean, I'm just curious.
Well, I'd say on my first year, I had a chopped up Mercury body. So my windows in the front, because every body on a Monster Jam truck is different. I could barely see out of the front window. So I had to really use those bottom windows to see where I was on the track.
And when you're talking about bottom windows, you're just talking about just straight up to the ground.
Yeah, like straight up to the ground.
There's no window, actually.
Exactly. It's like you just see the two big tires in the bottom. But sometimes the obstacle can be really low and the truck's so big, you actually don't see those little obstacle. We used to use car for turning pole and they were so low that I could barely see it out of my windows when you get too close. So in racing, think about you're coming to a turn, but when you get to that turn, you don't see the turn anymore because the truck is lifting. You know, when you're on the gas, it lifts the top lift.
Yeah.
So it's actually like you have to use everything you have. Those little windows make the huge difference to be able to see where you are. And one of the biggest thing I learned in the last couple of years is to never give up. It kind of sounds funny. You're like, but sometimes, I mean, you will mess up. You will mess up a corner. You'll overdrift and you're like, oh, race is done. No. It's never done until you cross that finish line. You don't want to give up, because the other one can make a mistake too. You know, you're like, I lost, But no. You want to go there and you want to finish that race.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I think that's something we don't think about a lot. And I've watched the races and you go around a corner, maybe you skip it and all of a sudden you just get like, deflated.
Yeah.
But the reality is the race isn't done. And so, I want to go back to your background and how you got into monster trucks. And so you have these injuries, you have these, like, how many times have you tried to be on the monster truck racing? How many years did you try and get on it?
I would say it took me 2 years to actually get in the series, to get a seat. But they actually test you out. We have a Monster Jam University where you get to test.
Monster Jam University?
Yeah, that's all we call it. You get to go there and you get coached by one of the best drivers, Tom Mans. And he actually...
I'm a trauma light. Keep going.
So he actually teach you a lot of stuff and kind of see if you can be in control in your truck. So if you're not scared, but... like, you have to not be scared driving a Monster Jam truck, because if you're scared, it won't work. So you gotta not be scared, but you have to be in control. I mean, if you're out of control and you destroy the truck, every time you go out and you don't give a good performance, they don't want that. So you have to be able to be competitive, but give a good show. So it's hard because people don't think it's easy for anybody to just press the pedal and go big. I mean, but to give a good show and not crash the first hit, it's not easy.
No, I don't think it sounds easy at all. I mean, gas brake, dude. So you go to this university, and when you're there, it took you 2 years to get onto the show, or to the main. Yep. And this is your first year on the actual big arena.
Yep.
So through that process, I mean, have you been passed up for opportunities?
I would say, you have a plan when you're kids of what's going to happen in your life. And, I studied to be in accounting but things just go it feel like it plays itself. You cannot stress about I had opportunity and I took some decision in my life. I mean, I moved from Canada, United States. I had to have a work visa. I kind of left my family for a little while, and I did so many sacrifices to reach my goal. And Monster Jam was definitely one of my goals, and I worked hard to make it happen. I mean, it did not happen like that. Oh, you're blonde, you would look great in a Monster Jam truck. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to be a good driver. You have to be able to speak in front of camera, and you have to be a good representative for all the women. Because for me, I take it really seriously.
Yeah, because the race that I went to most recently, there was only one female driver, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think there should be. And so you're at this university, and do you have to? So what we see is on the weekends. You're traveling every weekend.
Yep, every weekend.
So similar to Seth Rollins or Colby, who's a WWE superstar. He every weekend is at a different arena all around the world, and you're on the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So what is it like, and how do you get into your practice? So do you guys practice throughout the week, because you don't have your car, right?
So I would say when you go to that Monster Jam University on your first year, it's it's the moment you get to practice, but you don't really go back. So for me, practice is during the show. I learn from each of my mistake. So I would say on my first year, I was making mistake and I was not really learning from it, but I'm getting so much better now that I watch video. I actually take the time to watch each of the stuff I do wrong. But sometimes you don't want to do it because it's I don't know. It's but now I take the time to actually watch video and be like, okay, here's where I did a mistake. Here's where I lose time. And I'm trying to not make the same mistake. And that's how this year has been such a great year for me. The improvement is just amazing. Last year, I won the Rising Star because I improved so much last year. And I'm improving this year a lot too. So I'm feeling that you got to take those moments to see where you fell to learn from it. And we don't get to practice really much.
No, that's really tough because your trucks basically get shipped out there or whatever.
Yep.
And then you just show up and there's no pre-race.
Nope.
You just go.
You just go. And each place, the dirt's different, the temperature is different. Last weekend I was in Colorado. The breathing was hard. It's really show up who was in good shape out there. And we're going to Denver next weekend, and it's going to be hard in the breathing too. The hair is different, and it makes a huge difference.
I'm so fascinated by this because basically your profession is based off of a once a week effort.
Yep.
And there's no way to really practice that except for reviewing film and kind of going over it in your head.
Exactly.
So basically you look back on your shows and you have a camera inside, so you're watching the way you do it. And then do you compare to a driver that you're seeking to be able to do the same trick from?
Yeah, I mean, we are in this store, we are a lot of good driver, and I'm trying to learn from other driver, and I think some maybe try to learn from me. And what's cool with the Monster Jam industry is it's a big competition. On the track, when the helmet's on, I mean, it's game on. Everybody want to win. But everybody want to compete against the best. I want to compete with somebody that did not break, had a fail on this truck. I want to win against somebody that I was faster.
Yeah.
Not because he fell. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny to say, but like, if I want tricks or if I want to get advice, I will ask. I'm not shy to ask, hey, the other driver, hey, can you give me advice? And they will give you the advice because they want you to get better.
Right.
We want every driver to get better. We want the industry to evolve. So that's what's kind of different, because some competition, it's like people don't talk to each other.
Right.
But it's a different for us.
No, I think that's a really good perspective, because this is your profession as a financial career and a sport.
Yes.
And so you want to watch the sport keep elevating.
Yeah.
That's going to bring more fans. Going to be, the better you do, the more people, for example, hear about it here and go to the show or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And so as a community, you're trying to raise each other up. And with the travel schedule, I mean, what are you doing? Is there any hacks, tricks that you think about, any non-negotiables when you're traveling to different locations? Obviously, yesterday you and I worked out. You're going to work out again today, I assume. So you're big into working out. Is there anything else you do, or is working out kind of like the thing that gets you set for the time zone, gets you set and ready for the competition?
I would say I thought like my body was like, had no limit when I was a kid. I mean, when I started racing motocross, I thought nothing can happen to my body until I got ACL injury. I had my full reconstruction on my left shoulder. And at that point, when the doctor is like, hey, you're not going to come back from it 100%. I was like, what? Like, it's like, no. Like, it's, you won't be able to lift as much. You won't be able to run as much. It's like, whoa, okay. So that bring something new in me. I was like, okay, I really need to take care of that body. I want to keep going. I want to keep pushing myself. I want to push my limit, but I have to be careful. So now for me, my body go first. That's why I put a camera in my truck. I want to make sure I don't move. My seat is all good. And I kind of do a maintenance on my body. So as far as like I get massage, I'll go see a chiropractor. I do a lot of yoga this year because I find out that to get that flexibility, and it's really good for me, and kind of practice my breathing and CrossFit. So I try to bring a lot. The maintenance of my body is important, and it always in my week, in my off time, I have 2-day off time. I really take care of it, and that's number one for me.
That's really valuable. And I think that's really cool to see the correlation between your body being kind of like, not your temple, but just like, and for you, like you need your body.
Yeah, I need it.
And it goes through a lot of abuse on these weekend events. And so moving forward, what are your goals as a monster truck driver? I mean, I've seen videos of you doing backflips, which, I mean, I don't even know, like, what does it feel like to do a backflip in a monster truck? Because, I mean, most people don't even know what doing a backflip feels like doing anything. Yeah. But you're doing it in a giant ass monster truck. So what does that feel like? I mean, take me through that experience.
It is the best feeling ever. I mean,
the backflip. Yeah. More than anything else.
Anything else. I mean, I done 6 or 7 this year. I had 1 fail. But it's been a good year for me. There's always something cool come up, because if it looked too perfect, it looked too easy, people don't like it as much. Yeah. You have to like make it look like it's not that easy. And sometimes it is not that easy, because you come to a ramp that is straight up. And if you go too fast, if you go too slow, it won't work. So you gotta have that perfect speed. But inside of you, your heart rate goes so fast, you just feel like going really quick to it. But you gotta keep it down, and you gotta kind of go slow. You don't want to go too fast. And there's that specific moment where you're just all in. You just mash it, and you go, and the truck is like quick as seconds, like whoa, and it's like you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if you're gonna over rotate it. You don't know if you're gonna under rotate it. If you under rotate it, you hit the front of the truck. It's usually not a fun hit too. It's kind of hard on your body when you
hell yeah.
because you go all in like bang, just in the front wheel. And if you over rotate it, well, so you got to get prepared. You're upside down in the air. You don't know what's going on and you got to be prepared for anything. And this year it's kind of happened. I short sometime and sometime I over rotated and it kind of come up with a wheelie and you're like, okay, I got this. And you're just riding the wheelie, kind of show up and bring it back on four wheel and go for another big hit. And when you succeed that backflip, I feel like there's two things in my head that are touching each other. And it's like, I just get crazy. I'm just like, now I'm going for the biggest jump or now I got it. It's like, now I got to impress against the crowd. So it's like,
so you're driving up to like, literally it's like it's a ramp and then like
it's a container. Yeah.
Yeah. In a container.
Yeah.
And you're just going up to it and and you're just going for a ride.
Yeah.
And so how do you can't practice that.
Nope.
Like, it's not like in the X Games where people could practice things into like an airbag or something.
No,
like
you don't.
When you're practicing these, like you're doing it in front of a crowd.
You are. And like I said, every venue is different. The dirt's different. The container can be different. So you got to adjust. We kind of walk the track. It's kind of sound funny, but walking the track really make the difference because sometimes one side is different than the other side because we have two sides to the backflip. So it's really important. I think each step of my weekend is important and I take it seriously because if I don't perform, I feel like I'm letting down that crowd. So
yeah. And so, you know, the sport has escalated over the years. I mean, just like any other sport, motocross, for example. I remember when Travis Pastrana or whatever did the first double backflip and now people can do it or whatever. And it just, all these sports, the first time someone did a backflip on a monster truck was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay.
Double and front flip.
Yeah. Double and front flip. And so like, so when you're looking at these tricks, I think what's really cool about the sport you're in is like, there's no finish line.
No,
like,
there's not.
It's like, what could we do? How do we push ourselves? And where do you see the sport going? I mean, do you think more drivers are going to start taking better care of their fitness?
Well, I think that's what it's being more popular. I mean, we're having a youngest crowd driver and it's coming. We need to be in that good shape because the sport is evolving. The jumps are getting bigger. The tricks are getting bigger. So having those muscle really, really make sure you're not getting hurt. I mean, it's going to make the whole difference of if you're sore the next day. I mean, when you do arena, you do like 5 to 6 show a weekend. So you need that energy. You need to be in shape. If you're sore and you go back to another hit, I mean, your body can take so much. So it is getting really popular as you need to be in shape. You need to eat good too. I mean, if you don't eat good, you're not going to have the energy with that crowd.
Yeah. So what type of things are you doing? So we talked about the yoga, et cetera. Now from a nutritional perspective, I mean, is there certain like rules you try and stand by?
Nutrition's been the hardest thing for me because being
especially
on
the road.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably the one that traveled the most far because I'm from Canada. So I have to go all the way to the border and I usually have a couple flights. So eating is hard. I mean, at the airport, but I've been learning. I've been reading a lot. I hate reading, but I actually love nutrition. So I've been reading a lot. I've been doing a lot of research. And yeah, I eat really good. I try to eat as much veggie I can in a day.
Yeah.
But I need that food. Like I cannot starve. Like I need that energy food in my day. And it's just I kind of do the paleo. It's helping me a lot. And I feel like it can make a whole difference.
Yeah. And so when she's referring to paleo, for those of you who are unfamiliar, that's really just eating real food, right? Meat, vegetables, nuts, seeds, a little bit of fruit and sugar, a little bit of fruit and try and take out the sugar, right? And so I think that's excellent, right? Especially when you're traveling. Things that I pick up on when I'm traveling a lot is, nuts, if you have to, some jerkies. And it's hard to find the fresh veggies when you're traveling so much, but
I know.
You got to make it work. I mean, that's your profession.
Exactly. And people think it's easy, like the travel life. I have a lot of free time, but I don't. I mean, I'll fly all day, get to the hotel. I mean, if I don't eat good, I won't have the energy to go to the gym. But actually, if I did eat good, had a good night's sleep, I have that energy, that extra energy to at least go do an hour cardio or something.
And you always feel better, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And so one of the things that you and I were talking about yesterday is that when you're traveling so much and you're on these long flights, you feel like you're sometimes wasting time by like watching videos or whatever. Take me through, what are you doing? So you're listening to a lot of podcasts and How has that helped you? Or do you also listen to ebooks? Because I listen to a lot of ebooks. And how has that kind of transformed the way you look at time?
Okay, so I have too much energy sometimes. And I'm the kind of person that I'm always like, oh, I wish I had a break sometime. And when I do have a break, I'm like, oh my God, I need to do something.
Yeah.
Like my head is always running. I always look for a new challenge. I mean, I host a TV show. I'm a welder. I do the Monster Jam. I have so much going on. I try to be an athlete with CrossFit. So I do so much. But like for me, when I have an off time, like watching TV, it's like I feel like I'm wasting my time. I want to learn. I want to do something. So in the airplane, I mean, with my job, it's like I spend so many time. And like I said, I just start listening to podcasts, and it's been amazing because it's been motivating me to like do better, to be more determined. And I've been learning a lot from other athletes or other entrepreneur. And I'm actually starting a business right now. And for me, any advice is good. So I've been reading a lot. And no, I never do the ebook, but it's a good advice.
Yeah, I drive a lot. And so ebooks have been really helpful for me. Currently, I'm listening to an audiobook called Own the Day by Aubrey Marcus. But there's a lot of great ones out there, and podcasts as well. So that's really cool. You've been able to, you just seem like a person to me who's just driven and focused, and you don't want to waste your time. You just want to get after it. And I am super fascinated. If there's anything like from a mindset shift that you've had over the years, right? From going from being injured to now, working at the highest level in Monster Jam, which is really cool. What would you say is like one thing that you have kind of like stuck to that you think has helped you kind of build up into this career now? I mean, is it staying? I mean, we've touched base on a few of them. You just seem like you have a lot of grit and hard work. Yep. But was there a shift in your mindset that's now allowed you to be successful at Monster Jam that maybe you didn't have when you were first entering the university?
Well, I feel like you're always searching for who you are. I mean, you're always kind of like looking at the other people, and you don't want to be anybody else. You want to be yourself. And I think the best advice I have is to stay you. I mean, my family is always there to remember where I come from and who I am. And I think that's the best. I come back home and I'm like become another person. I become Cynthia. And for me, when I'm on the road, I stay true to the fans, to who I am. I mean, I don't try to be anybody else. I am me. And I think that's what's the best. I'm the person that always try to push my limit and try to push myself. And I think that's the best that's been working for me.
I love it. Well, guys, if people want to know more information about you or Monster Jam in general, where's the best place they could find you and learn more?
I'm really big on Instagram. For me, Instagram, I try to answer to everybody. I take the time to actually answer to people message me. It's not always easy, but I make it happen. Facebook, I have a website too, CynthiaGauthier.com. And it's been amazing for me. I can share my journey. on
Instagram, so it's Cynthia Gauthier. Yep. How do you spell that?
Cynthia, it's Cynthia and Gauthier, Gauthier.
I can also put in the show notes. Well, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Tomorrow at your event. Go out there, do a quadruple backflip for us.
Right.
And I hope everybody has a phenomenal day. And thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right.